Super Newcastle, Newcastle United FC.
Buongiorno everyone, welcome to a little something new this week, a little opposition preview. Yeah, we're joined by the Ugly Inside.
All right, mate. How's it going? Yeah, you know what? In true magpie fashion, I've got myself a little beer. You're missing something there, mate.
A Dr. Geordie over there down in Southampton.
I got. Do you know what? It's we've got ourselves a little deal with Beer 52 a couple of weeks ago, and this one's called a Rust Bucket. So hopefully we don't see a similar sort of performance at St James's this weekend.
Oh, you can send them my way as well, eh?
If you want to, you can go to...
Send me some preview, yeah, that sounds good. So, this weekend, couldn't be any closer. You are one position below us. We're 1 point above you. Are you confident heading up to St James's Park?
Not at all, mate. This season, Pellegrino's been massively underwhelming. His style of football has been boring the pants off, Saints fans. A lot of people also called for his head from months ago, and I think also the arrogance of the board has kept him in a job for the season. Any other football club in the league, anywhere in the world, I think, would have sacked the manager on his recent form. Recent form, we've got 7 points each in the last 6. 1 win, 3 draws, 1 loss. Your win coming against United, so there you can obviously take confidence from that. But our win coming against the bottom of the table side, West Brom. So honestly, it's becoming more of a chore, more of a duty to watch Saints for the rest of this season, because we can't see any positives coming out of the performances. It seems like the players aren't playing for the manager, and the manager just seems clueless in his approach.
That's a combination of everything you don't want there that you've mentioned. We've seen it in Newcastle. You've linked your board there. Our troubles are well noted with our board. So the popular decision down there is that you would have liked to see a change of manager. Would you still like to see that now, with only 7-8 games to go?
I saw a statistic earlier today from a big sort of Saints follower and a big supporter of ours. That regularly comes on our channel, and he said the only team to sack their manager with less than 10 games to go and stay up are your neighbours down the road. The other team that play in red, white stripes in the northeast. But if we done that, I honestly can't. I just cannot have the confidence in the new manager to keep us up. And if it were a new manager, the board had to break the bank, which I don't think they will, because they've pinched the pennies over the last few years since Les Reed and Ralph Kruger's been in the door, And I think also historically, apart from Sunderland, the managers don't have enough time to turn the team around, don't have enough time to work with the squad. And if we were to sack him now, everyone would be happy, but it's all about what happens next. I would sincerely hope a manager with some confidence, a manager with some new ideas, some fresh plans, some authority as well to come in the door and kick some butt. To be honest, I wouldn't have the confidence in us staying up if we sack the manager now. We're scraping by. We're just about scraping by at the moment.
It's right that there isn't enough time really, because unfortunately we went down when Rafa was brought in with only 8 or 10 games to go, and if only it was a few matches before, maybe a month before even, it would have been enough. But it is so difficult at the business end of the season now for someone to come in and actually stamp their authority and the playing style on the players that are obviously low on confidence, low on morale, everything. It is difficult, but sometimes it works, and unfortunately it did work for the Martins down the road, but they scraped it for years, and what they're in now, the mess they're in, rock bottom of league, the Championship heading to League One, this has been in due course. Like, it was, the writing was on the wall. It was Jermaine Defoe and the likes of Aldice who kept them up all the time, right towards the end of the season. So you're just saying that he was scraping by. He's had to pick up a few draws lately, a couple of 1-1s. It was disappointing. I've seen your fan cams from the weekend, 0-0 at home to Stoke. You think that was a must-win game, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a list of teams. I don't have it to hand, but it's all the teams more or less around us. So, I mean, since the beginning of the season, we have completely messed up the games that we are, on paper due to winnable games. So your likes of your Swansea, obviously Newcastle earlier this season, Stoke last weekend. You're looking at Watford. You're looking at a host of other clubs this season, but we've royally messed up. And if you look at the league table, we've got the most amount of draws, and the reason why that is because Pellegrino is setting up the team not to lose. I think he keeps the shackles on the players. And actually, you remember when you saw Nathan Redmond had an earful from Pep Guardiola in a Man City game back in November. Redmond was sort of gesturing to him, I can't do anything because that's how the manager tells me how to play. Pellegrino seems like he's putting the shackles on the players, not allowing them to express themselves. We've got some really good players, and I honestly think we've got a good quality squad. And at the beginning of the season, you're thinking Saints, top half easy, but it's the manager that has completely sucked the life out of the fans. For the second year running, that the board has made an appointment for the manager that has not really enthused any of the fans, and he's rubbing off the players.
I think it rubs off. I mean, even just from looking at much of the day, he doesn't really breed much enthusiasm or confidence into you. He's a bit of a dull character, isn't he? And he is. I mean, for me, you mentioned at the start of the season, Saints top 10. I look at their squad on paper and I wonder why is it down there. You shouldn't be down there. You shouldn't be with the likes of us who just came up from the Championship with the same squad that came up. You look at the Gabbiadini on his day, he looked brilliant when he first came. Redmond, Bertrand, Tadic. Was it Lamina you bought?
18 million in the summer. We've got a new striker in January, Guido Carrillo. He played under Pellegrino in South America for Estudiantes. So that was clearly a Pellegrino signing. He is yet to score yet, but I think what we've seen with Carrillo in the squad, I think it seems like he's now the focal point for our attack. And you mentioned Gabbiadini. Everyone seems to pick up on him because he wasn't hot by sort of last season. Scoring 6 and 4. Obviously scored 2 against you earlier this season. But again, another player that's been sucked the confidence from the manager, and also Gabbiadini and a host of other players this season. Actually, when they played well one week, Pellegrino has rotated. Or rested or dropped. I don't know what it is. The player isn't in the squad the next weekend, and everyone's scratching their head at his selection policy. Most of this season it's a complete lottery for his selection process. I even put a bit of a spoof video out around for the FA Cup game because I just had no idea what sort of team he would pick. I literally got my lottery machine out, numbers 1 to 44, Fraser Forster. Right, oh there you go. We have centre backs up front. We'll have Buffal at centre back. Everyone all over the place.
Yeah, we can relate to that. Rafa, he's known as a bit of a rotationist, and he's done that for us. We've seen. I mean, we played away at West Ham in the new year, and Tiormi and Saive were the two best players on the pitch. Saive scored a worldie of a free kick. He came out of the cold, and then we haven't seen him since. So you see that he chops and changes his wingers all the time, and I don't think he's found his number one striker because there isn't one. They're all shit. The top two, Rossley and Gill haven't been good enough. We've sent Mick out on loan to Fulham. Yeah.
Scoring goals now, isn't he? Scoring goals for fun.
Championship. Yeah. We've got Slimani, who was signed on loan, we haven't even seen yet because he's injured. He's still out for a couple of weeks. We're hoping he's going to be back this weekend. Doesn't look likely. So we can relate with the manager rotating it as well. How do you think he'll set up on the weekend? Do you think he'll set up for, like you say, shackles on? Do you think he'll come for 0-0?
I wouldn't be surprised, mate. Honestly, that's the way Pellegrino plays. I think perhaps a positive we could take to St James's is that there's less pressure on the team away from home. There's huge amount of pressure at St Mary's at the moment. Obviously due to the lackluster, boring performances on the pitch, and we seem to be picking up more points away from home. I think we've got the worst, the second worst home record in the league, bar sort of West Brom, but away from home we're picking up points. It seems like we are creating a bit of confidence. We're playing well. I mean, if you look at it on paper, like we've lost once or twice since the new year. I mean, similar to you, really. You're looking at it as a little positive that you've lost 2 since the turn of the year.
The only teams we've been beaten off since the start of the turn of the year are Liverpool and City in the Premier League and Chelsea in the FA Cup. The similarity strike a game because we're better away from home. Our style of play on the counter suits away from home. We've picked up vital wins on the road, West Ham and Stoke in the new year. Then at home, we've been succumbing to George, Burnley nicked to Georgia with 1-0, 5 minutes to go. Swansea nicked to Georgia. So this one does seem to have Joe probably written all over it.
Yeah, it is. It's a sad case of affairs, really, if you think about it. I think credit to Benitez. I think he's a terrific manager. And I think if perhaps if you do drop into the Championship, I don't think that Newcastle will probably hang on to him. Obviously, with the backstage stuff going on around Mike Ashley and the potential or no more takeover, I don't know what's going on, to be honest. But we've been saying actually on our previews, it's going to be the Master v the Apprentice, and both managers play defensive football. So this, you're right, it's got 0-0, last match of the day all over it. To the fixtures this weekend as well, you've got two other big matches. You've got Huddersfield v Swansea as well. Teams around us. So if one of those seem to win, you're looking at this game. We'll want to take their opportunity to move up the table. I think Stoke are playing. Are they playing West Ham or somebody like that?
Way to West Ham. I think Stoke have got Man City, have they not?
So, Stoke at home to Man City, West Ham at home to Burnley. So you're looking at West Ham as well. They're in a bit of turmoil at the moment.
Swansea away to Huddersfield. If Swansea win that, they've nearly pulled away. I can't believe how well they're doing since Carvajal's came in. Yeah, it's unbelievable. We were linked with Carvajal at the beginning of the season, but I cannot understand why the hindsight really, isn't it? Looking back at it, to think that the board didn't even consider him for the position. Carvajal, he was sacked by Sheffield Wednesday. Within a week, he was in a Premier League position. It just teams, especially Saints, they need to take a risk, and I think that's the problem with Pellegrino. He's not a risk taker. A lot of the talk up here heading into this game is that it is going to make or break our season. Because after this, we've got a 3-week break because of Spurs getting through in the FA Cup. So we've got this game this Saturday, and then it's the 31st of March. We'll play Huddersfield at home.
That's of the mentality of the football club, test of the manager and test of the players to keep their heads held high. I think you've got some decent players at Newcastle. I think I've been impressed by your new goalkeeper, Dubravka. He was excellent in his debut against Man U. Lascelles, excellent central defender. Shelby's also decent as they can strike a fantastic ball from like 30 yards. So I hear he's back. He could be in contention on Saturday. I
mean, at the start of the week, they're saying he's got no chance. Now they're saying he's touch and go. So we'll have to wait and see that one. Maybe Rafa's keeping it close to his chest, but Shelby on his day is incredible and can't pick out that match-winning pass.
Do you think Benitez will approach the game?
I think he will. He'll do the usual, where I think he'll try and come flying out the blocks. He tries to get the crowd behind him early doors. He tries to keep it tight and tries to keep you in the game for as long as possible. So if we don't grab an early goal, I think it could be cagey until the last 10.
Yeah. And I think actually, Saints have been slow at the blocks this season, and perhaps if you go a goal up quite early on, I think Saints will have a mountain to climb. What I would like to see is some players actually kind of play for themselves, because they know in themselves they are talented players. They know in themselves they've got skill and they've got ability to take players on and play with freedom. I think we need some steel, some bravery from the players, and you know what? I don't think we've got enough leaders in our squad either. Not since Van Dijk, Font, Davis, goalkeeper, from a few years ago, have all left. There's nobody there to shout at the other his teammates to take the game by the scruff.
We had that trouble when we went down. It was full of players who couldn't give a shit about the club. No one had a voice. Everyone was happy to just get on the pitch and go home. Until Lascelles came in, he's totally rejuvenated the club in the dressing room for someone who actually wears his heart on the sleeve and cares about it. We were crying at that for years, because we had Colaccini in there who was past his time and didn't care about the club anymore, basically. And you can't see that with your team, to be fair, on the pitch. And you touched on it, like players like Redmond should be going out and expressing themselves and try and get into the plane of the World Cup.
He's had a lot of stick this season. Honestly, you wouldn't believe how much. Expectations. He's English, he's young, he's got talent, and he's got potential, and that's a key word that's bounded around St Mary's and Staplewood. Quite a lot of potential into excellence is the motto at the training ground.
Potential, excellence, and then Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a cycle now, and I think
worse than being like selling on your best players is that I know it all too well in our mate.
Lack of ambition, and ambition is something that is also so thrown around Southampton Football Club way too often. Ambition, the ambition really is for Southampton Football Club is to make profit, develop young players, and then sell them on to whoever, because it's a business at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. It's sucking the life out of pure football fans. It's the only thing that's left pure in the game at the moment.
Who do you think is going to go down then? Do you think you're going to go down, or who's your bottom three pick? I mean, West Brom, they're gone already, don't they?
West Brom's nailed on. I think you're looking at that. West Brom, Stoke, precarious. But having said that, it's only 1 point between 19th and 16th is Newcastle. 3 points separate 19th up to Swansea and 13th. So anything can happen. If anybody pulls together a few run of games like Swansea have, they could find themselves fairly clear, fairly comfortable. Brighton a 10th.
Insane. But that's exactly what a couple of wins on the bounce has done for them.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, actually, I think you need to look out at Huddersfield. Their run-in is probably the worst of the bottom teams. They've got to play, I think, 4 of the top six. We've got to play. We've got Arsenal coming up first weekend of April. We've got Man City on the last day. Chelsea at home. Those are our last 2 home games. Chelsea, Man City. So those will be tough for sure. We get 9 points, and the harsh reality of that is probably that we'll get 9 draws. I think we'll stay up by the skin of our teeth. But I think Palace might be in danger too. So I don't know. It's so tough to call, mate.
You could put so many names in the hat there, couldn't you?
Yeah, you can literally put all.
Roll the dice.
That's it. That's it, mate. Yeah, that's it. Any other sort of bottom 5 or 6 teams could go down, and this is going to be the tightest relegation fight in probably Premier League history. And you're probably looking at that 35 or 36 points could honestly keep you up.
Mm-hmm. I don't even think they'll need that magic 40 mark this year. It has got Survival Sunday written all over it. Split screens, nightmare.
Hey, what's your prediction?
I think we'll score an early goal. We'll go 1-0 up, and then we'll miss a couple of sitters. Rafael will go defensive in about the 70th minute. It'll backfire. He's get an equaliser with about 2 minutes to go, and it'll finish 1-1.
Sounds like you got it all written down, mate. Sounds like you've already prepared the match report.
No, I think Renty's big tip.
I think you're probably. I don't think you're going to be far from the truth there. It's also 2 teams that can't score at the moment. We haven't got goal scorers. Josh Sims, the other lad there on the end of the poster, he's only come on for the last 2 games, making an impact. But we've been calling for him all season, and that's what we want. We want to be tenacious. We want to be playing without fear, and take an influence from Josh Sims. I think Josh Sims could be a game changer. Honestly, look out for him. I think if I go for a score prediction, you know what? I'm going to stay positive. I will say Saints to squeeze a 1-0 win.
I hope you're wrong, mate. Right, I think we've covered everything there, haven't we?
I think so, mate. I think so. Only thing is you're missing is a beer in tradition.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't have time. I wasn't prepared. I'll make up for it on Saturday.
Nice one, mate. Good to speak to you. Take it easy, yeah?
Nice one, mate. Cheers. See you, man.